Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's great to have you along with us this afternoon. Two racing legends really in front of me today. When it comes to you, Senior, if I may, first and foremost, and just talk about earlier on when you really were in rallying when history changed and many great drivers drove alongside you. Oriol, Kankkunen, Biasion, McRae, just to name a few. But what can you tell us about that era of rallying?
Well, I have been so lucky to live the old days of rallying when everything was possible. It was free to practice, free to recce. You can do many times as you want with the recce car, exactly the same than the rally car. We have the long rallies, 4 or 5 days rally, driving a lot in the night, and all what we know the old times. And then from there, basically, I have lived as well all the changes through the rally time up to now, because the format the rallies are using today was the same when I retired. So I was lucky to live all the transition. I was lucky to live my rally time with great champions, as you say, and I really enjoy a lot all my period during the World Rally Champions.
And Carlos, coming to you, 2019, you joined McLaren as a driver. And again, we've had so many great names in McLaren, such as Senna, Lauda, Hakkinen, and Hamilton. And just what does it mean to you to be part of this team now?
Well, for me, it was a very good step in my career, quite a big jump in terms of being part of such a historical team, second most successful team in Formula One, and that made me incredibly proud. It was quite a tough ask, especially because I was replacing a guy called Fernando Alonso, so for me it was quite a big responsibility going into this job. But as soon as I entered the factory, as soon as I entered the headquarters and met all the people, I realized that I was feeling at home immediately. We created a very good environment, a very good working environment. We decided all to push in the same direction to try and make McLaren go little by little back to the top. And we achieved a lot of success in 2019, probably my best year in my career in Formula One. Also the year that I've had the most fun at the wheel of a Formula One car. And all that ended up showing good results.
Thank you. And Senior, coming back to you, you touched upon how rallies have changed and they are completely different to what they used to be in the time. But you've driven some fantastic cars, Celica, Focus, Escort Cosworth, WRC Escort. What was your favourite car during that time? And is there any one particular moment in that time that really still sticks in your mind?
Well, it's a question that is always difficult to answer, no? Because I will say you need to put each car in his time to judge it properly, because it is not fair to compare a 2004 car to a 1990 car. It's such a long period on time that is not fair. I always have it will be nice to, let's say, choose every small detail for the best what you think it was in each car, and then build a car like that. That will be a good fun. But coming back to your question, I think you need to put the car in his time. And obviously I have great cars. I cannot forget the Toyota Celica, which I won the 2 championships. Of course, the Subaru, the Ford, the Focus, the Escort, later on the Sara, I have been driving for many manufacturers, and I really enjoy my time with very talented people, great engineers, great mechanics, which all of them helped me a lot to learn and to be better. And I really enjoy all my time with every car.
Which was your toughest teammate?
It's difficult to say because one thing is true is some drivers were especially very fast or really incredible fast with such a car. You may change teams and then you feel you have certain advantage because the being the same teammates, but the car fits you a little bit better or whatever. No? So this also, it is an important point. But I have fantastic teammates, very strong, like Juha Kankkunen, like Didi Oriol, for sure. Colin, I was with him in the most many years. I have been with him at Subaru. I have been with him in Ford many years. I have been with him with Citroën, and you know he was a good friend of mine towards the end of and just before his sudden and very sad accident. So you know, then Loeb, you cannot discount. Of course, I was a little bit older when I was joining Citroën, and he was there. He was the youngest. I was already over 40. But, you know, I have big respect for all those champs, big respect for people also that they haven't been my teammates, but I have been fighting with them. So, you know, rally is good because I think we respect each other a lot.
Thank you. Carlos, coming back to you, when did you realize you had a passion for getting into Formula One, and did you always want to become a Formula One driver? And we're going to come on to it shortly, but talk about Dakar a little bit later. But ever fancy doing Dakar and competing against your dad?
Yeah, that's a discussion for a bit later. But if we talk about my passion for Formula One, I would start first with my passion for cars. You know, I've had a car at home or near my house ever since I'm 2 years old. You know, I had an electric car first that I started doing donuts and going sideways around the backyard. And I started go-karting in the indoor go-karts of my dad, the Carlos Sainz Center, back in when I was 5 years old. And as everything developed, suddenly my career started to go more towards karting. Then all of a sudden I went in 2005 to a Spanish Grand Prix. And there is where I fell in love with Formula One properly, you know. And at that point, ever since, my target was to become a Formula One driver. My dad was very careful at telling me that it was going to be extremely difficult to get there. So when I got there, we were obviously extremely happy. But let's say my real passion for Formula One started when I was 9-10 years old. And the Dakar.
Yes,
the Dakar question.
You fancy giving that a go?
I will give it a go, but probably by the time I give it a go, my dad will be over 70 years old. And I hope for the health of my mom and the whole family and himself, that he's still not racing at 70 years of age. So against him,
never write off a racing driver. Never write off a racing driver.
Never, yeah, and even less Carlos Sainz Sr. So we will see. But my target is to do a rally at some point, to do a ride probably. Obviously, if I do it, I would like to do it properly and preparing it well. But we will see. I'm so focused in Formula One right now that I don't have time to think about anything else.
Now, let's go back to the Dakar. Senior, you've won the Dakar 3 times now, so an amazing achievement, and congratulations on that. But tell us a little bit about the characteristics of that race, because it's not just like a normal rally. And tell us about the car and some of the specifications and what the approach you have to do to take on the Dakar.
Well, let's start by the preparation. Exactly. You have one opportunity per year, because the Dakar it only happens once per year. It's a little bit like 24 hours of Le Mans, one race per year. And there you prepare yourself from one year to another. So basically, you do quite a lot of testing. You try to prepare the car in the best possible way to cope with all conditions, to cope with stones, to cope with sand dunes, hard, rough, fast, slow, everything that you know you are going to find. And then of course you do a lot of testing, some races for preparation, and you do a lot of kilometers just to make sure you don't have any mechanical failure, or try to do not have any mechanical failure. Then apart from that, you have to respect quite a lot the race in terms of preparing yourself carefully, physically. So let's say from September, I really intensify all the physical preparation. You need to respect that. And of course, more age you have, more veteran you are, more you need to do that. And then, of course, the race itself it's a long race. You have days of 500 kilometers special stage, where you are going to be 4 or 5 hours in the car flat out. With one important thing that the people needs to know is that you haven't been going through like in normal rally before. It's completely new. You drive with your eyes, you drive with certain information of the co-driver, but you drive blind. Let's say you need to drive with, and then if you are pushing really hard, sometimes you get big moments. You need to cope with that as well, and you know, try to pass every day without a problem. Reset your mind for the following day, and just go step by step. And for sure, you will have some days more difficult, some bad days, but you need to recover and be strong during the 2 weeks.
And Carlos, coming back to you, Spanish Formula One driver in the car, son of the Matador, as he's now known after the Dakar. But how proud are you to be a Spanish driver in Formula One?
Well, obviously my target was always one, no? Since I'm 10 years old, was to be the next Spanish Formula One driver, you know, after Fernando and obviously after our friend Pedro de la Rosa. And once I got there, I felt like the Spanish, all the Spanish fans and everything have supported me a lot. They want me to do well, and I can feel that. I can feel that, especially in every Spanish Grand Prix that we do in the grandstand. Last year, with the help of McLaren, we managed to create this 3,600 people grandstand. And I feel massive support by everyone. Obviously, my target is to fight for a world championship as soon as possible. And in that moment, I hope that the Spanish fans will turn on their TVs even more than they are turning them on now, and we can all enjoy a fight. But until then, hard work and dedication.
Senior, how happy were you that Carlos followed in your footsteps into motor racing? Is it something that you encouraged him to do? And obviously, Formula One to rally, very different disciplines. But how proud are you of Carlos?
Well, of course, as you can imagine, I'm a proud father. More because, you know, I think he worked very hard to arrive where he has arrived. He decided to go the route of Formula One. Obviously, if he had decided to go the route of rallying, he will probably, I could have helped him much more, but well, he decided to do that. And I respect it, and you know, I try to help him whenever I can. Also, by the karting days, I was doing some rallies and some rides, so I have some friend that was helping him. But you know, each time my how you call it, my help is less and less. He is already 25. He knows what he has to do, and I'm going less time to races, and I just follow like another fan, maybe a little bit special fan where he can always come back if he has any doubt or about anything, and just to support him. But my role is nearly over now.
But we see you at some of the races, and the bond that you two seem to have together is very close. But both being racing drivers, how competitive are you between each other?
Well, of course, in cars, it's difficult to fight each other because he's much better than me already. Of course, in circuit, in rallying, he has very good feeling. We have a rally car where we are competing, and without his mom knowledge, we take some times, and he's doing really well. But you know, in other sports, we are also fighting. Each time it's becoming more and more difficult for me because he nearly beats me in everything. But still, there are a couple of things where I can put him a little bit in difficulties.
A bit too many for my liking. Still, sometimes in golf, squash, he still beats me by a mile because he was squash champion. And as he said, it's very difficult to compare because we are both from different disciplines. But in rallying, obviously, I enjoy it. I have the best coach that I can have to try and be decent at the wheel of a rally car, and that is helping me to get a good feel and kind of get a bit close to him, but nowhere near where I would like to be, no? Which is beating him, and I still have a long way to go. So I don't think I will ever beat him on straight lap times until probably he's too old. But until then, I still need his advice and and his know-how.
Let's talk about another quite good bond we've seen with your teammate in Lando Norris. So, you know, we see you having fun in the motorhome at the races. You have a go at the simulators that we have in the motorhome as well. You seem to share many passions for the same thing. But just tell us a little bit about your teammate, Lando Norris.
Nice. With Lando, it has been good fun. You know, since the moment we met, we really got on very well. We both obviously knew that we were into a project that was needing a couple of drivers working in the same direction, working in a good team atmosphere to try and help the team, you know, to move forward. And since then, we've created that good bond, that good relationship, that good feeling. And yeah, don't forget that Lando and I are as competitive as any other teammates in the grid. We respect each other a lot, but at the same time, if we can beat each other at FIFA or in iRacing or in the track, of course, we will try, and it bothers us, but it is true that we have that good feeling and we can have fun in the racetrack as well as being competitive.
Celia, coming back to you, we've mentioned it earlier on, but the Matador, as you have got that nickname, is where did it come from? Who came up with that? And does Carlos have a nickname you can tell us about as well?
Oh, where did the Matador came from? I don't remember.
Yeah, the nickname, you know, came the first year I came to World Rally Championship, and my teammates were Juha Kankkunen and Juha Pironen, Finnish. And I think like it was the first Spanish basically in a factory team there, and they haven't met a lot. I don't know. They start to call me, hey, Matador, you know, like a nickname, because they thought I was really pushing hard, and somehow also they know from Spain they only know probably Matador, Siesta, and Paella. So they decided that Matador was the closest nickname for myself, and they both start, and from there it goes on.
Carlos, come to you. You know, obviously we're doing this broadcast for Sparco today. Sparco have been with McLaren for over 20 years, and they've been supplying our ovals to all of our drivers. Just how important is it for you as a driver to make sure the equipment that Sparco does supply you for the overall underwear and everything else, how important that is to a driver and what you're looking for out of that garments?
Well, first of all, I am happy to continue with Sparco in my Formula One career, because I've been part of the Sparco family. I think since I'm 10 years old, I've been wearing Sparco gloves, Sparco rib protectors in karting, you know, and now that I am part in Formula One, I'm still wearing Sparco. So for me, it's been a relationship of more than 15 years, you know, and in Formula One, they are doing a very good job. They are giving us drivers the comfort and the availability to adapt their material to the modern needs, you know, which is as light but as comfortable as possible. That's the target always in Formula One, and they are responding well. They are giving us with the latest technological material, the most developed, and every time you need something, you have an answer from them. So very happy, very glad to keep working with Sparco after this many years, and now it's time to keep pushing and keep becoming better and better.
And just so people can understand that we're going to watch this, we've got rally cars and we've got Formula One cars. Just tell, in layman's terms, the biggest differences between those two different racing disciplines, whether it be technology, materials used, seats, etc. Just how different a Formula One car that you drive to a rally car that your dad would be driving?
I don't know. I think first of all we need to start by the conditions. You know, a Formula One driver drives in a circuit where he perfectly knows the corner once he goes into qualifying and the race, exactly which gear he's going to use, which line he's going to take, and it's all about precision and how good you are at exploiting that car to the absolute limit and try to extract the last tenth of a second. My opinion is that rally driving is the same, but with a bit more improvisation, with a bit more feeling, with a bit more, obviously with the pace notes, but at the same time with having to to improvise a lot more. And I don't know, I have here to my right the guy that can explain it better.
No, for sure. Everybody's looking for the last tenth. Doesn't matter if you're in a circuit or in rallying, you know. And I think driving a rally car probably on gravel and gives you the impression that the car slides a lot and all that, but you are really taking the last centimeter of the track and going as smooth as possible. Of course, driving on tarmac have a lot of similarities to circuit racing, and of course the Dakar is completely different discipline. But you know, I think we can say that we are driving probably the completely opposite and biggest difference between two competition cars in the world, a Formula One car and a rally ride car. But the philosophy is the same.
Thank you for that. Now I'm going to ask you the final question. It's the same question for both of you. So, Senior, you've had a very long relationship with Sparco. So I'm going to ask you in one word, what would you leave us with about Sparco in one word?
One word about Sparco.
Quality and passion.
And Carlos, for you?
History. And can I say another word?
Go on then.
History and development.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to talk to you this afternoon and say on behalf of Sparco, thank you very much for joining us. And hopefully we'll see you at a racetrack in the not too distant future. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you to you.
Hopefully. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.